This is the Q a lot of you have been waiting for, the all-new Q343. Ever since the Q launched, people have been asking, can we get a 35mm version of it, a 50mm version of the Q, right? It's a very popular camera, right? It's been touted as one of the cameras that sort of reinvigorated Leica for a new generation of photographers. Compact, one focal length, you can go macro on the 28mm f1.7 lens. It was a kind of a do-it-all camera. It even shoots video as well. Now, video obviously is not its strong suit, but it still does it. It's a hybrid camera system for the most part. But it was a great street photographer's travel camera, urban, landscape, you name it. It was a really good camera system. The Q, the Q2 respectively, and now the Q3 that launched last year, 60 megapixels, tri-resolution sensor, we know the specs on it. But still, people wanted another focal length for it. They were like, can we get that 35? Can we get that 50? Will Leica ever make it? And now we have that answer today. The 43mm f2 APO-Summicron lens on a Q3 body. I have been testing this camera off and on for the past couple of weeks. Big thanks to Leica Singapore for providing the camera for me. For review, with that said, these are my thoughts and my thoughts only. And I have really enjoyed using this camera. I am one of those that I can shoot with 28mm, but it's not a focal length that I absolutely love, okay? It's one of those things where I'm going, I'm always cropping in. I'm always cropping in my image. And if you're one of those photographers who's always cropping in on your image, this may be the Q for you. Because I like 35 and I like 50. 28 is kind of neither here nor there for me. But everyone's got their own personal opinion to it, okay? This APO-Summicron lens, you also have macro capabilities on this lens as well. You're getting yourself a fantastic street photographer's camera. As a matter of fact, my friend Casey Yang said, this probably would be the camera that Henry Cartier-Bresson in 2024 would probably pick up, because it's the focal length of our ICs, 42.5mm to be exact, in a 35mm format, full frame format, is what our eye sees. So we round it up to 43mm, and that's what Leica's put into this. It's a genius move by Leica, because the marketing for it is capture what your eye sees, essentially. Now they have a little bit of a different tagline, but that's essentially what it is. And it's like that. I'm walking around town and I went to the horse races. I took a lot of images around town, and it's great to actually see something happen in front of you and going, I want to capture that. And this camera does exactly what I want it to do. Capture the framing, what I see in front of me. Because most of the time when we're out there, we're always having to guesstimate or adjust based on the focal length that we have with us. Again, if you have a zoom, it's different. But if you're on a prime, which a lot of Leica shooters are on primes, naturally, of course, you're always adjusting. 35, you have to step in. 50, you have to step back. So with a 43, you're right in that sweet spot. And it's interesting that Leica's brought back sort of the 40mm focal length, because back in the day with the CL, they launched a 40mm f2 lens, and also Minolta did as well, because they were collaborating on the CL film camera. This is the first time we're seeing it from Leica. Now, of course, third-party manufacturers, they're making 40mm lenses, but this is the first time we're seeing it, and it's an APO-Summicron lens. So, with that said, performance-wise, it's essentially a Q3. Now, there has been some firmware updates since I've been trying out the camera system, so I will tell you that I actually recorded this video earlier on, but then I got it back. I'm like, ooh, the firmware's updated. Let me try this out. And lo and behold, the autofocusing is improved. It's much snappier. It's more responsive. I think a lot of you out there are going to appreciate the upgrades that Leica's put into this. Now, they're not like night and day difference, but they are. Something I noticed in the autofocusing is that it's more precise. It's quicker to grab focus. Much more so than the previous firmwares that I was using. And I'll even say this, I feel that the autofocusing is even slightly better than the SL3 at this point in time. Again, I've talked about that in other videos. Hopefully Leica does address that with the SL3, but I'm finding the Q343 to be pretty damn good. Is it as good as the Lumix S5 II, S5 IIX? By the way, I'm filming on that right now. Not quite, but it's close. It's close, in my personal opinion. And also you get better burst modes out of this than you get on the SL3, which is kind of odd that you would get this in a Q3 and not the SL3, but I'm guessing there will be a firmware update for that camera coming sometime soon that will address some of these issues. With that said though, the camera's performed great, right? There's no difference from a Q3 with a 28mm f1.7 lens and the 43 minus the focal length. Of course, the outside of it, the skin or the wrap is a gray instead of all black. Again, you could probably take this alike if you want it all black and just change it out. I don't think it would be much of an issue, but it gives you sort of a little bit of a differentiation to the standard Q3 with this gray sort of skin to it. It's not bad. I mean, it's not, I kind of like black personally, but it's it sets it apart, which is nice. You kind of want that. And I believe you can customize these skins as well. I've seen other people do it with their Q cameras, so I'm sure you can do it with this as well. You still have that tilt-up display, so you still have that all there. I mean, it's essentially a Q3, guys, so the performance is pretty much almost exactly the same. You know, what's interesting with this camera is because you have this 43mm lens that kind of captures what your eye sees. It'd been nice if this EVF is a 1x magnification, so it's a true exactly what your eye sees. It's not quite there. Again, probably for people that wear glasses, but it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. It still works really well, so let's just put it there, okay? But overall, I think, again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, if you're one of those people who's always been cropping in on your Q camera because you just felt you're a little bit too wide, this is the Q to pick up. If you're one of those that wants wider, the Q3 28mm f1.7 is still going to be for sale. This is just an alternative. So let's talk about the lens on the Q3 4.3, this APO-Summicron 43mm lens. How does it compare to the SL35, the SL50, and the M lenses? Now, I don't have samples for all those that I've taken with this because I don't have those lenses with me, but I can tell you, looking at images side by side, that the SL lenses will be, I mean, they will be of a higher quality, okay? With that said, unless you're pixel peeping with the same images next to each other, you're gonna be hard pressed to tell the difference. Again, look at the price point of this camera. $6,000 plus USD for the camera and the lens because it's all in one, versus an SL35 or SL50, which again is almost more than half of what this camera costs. So you have to take that in consideration, and even the M lenses for that matter, that those lenses probably will have a little bit of better rendering. But again, unless you're pixel peeping, you're gonna be hard pressed to tell the difference. The lenses are very well corrected, beautiful fall off, great bokeh, very sharp, great color rendition. Paired with the sensor, the reds, just the colors are just rich and vibrant. And obviously if you go into post and play with them even more, so it's just wow. And of course, even other images I've been showing you throughout this video, absolutely fantastic. And that's one of the great things with the system, is just how good it is with this lens. And you have macro capabilities as well, which is also a nice added bonus. So take those things in consideration, but I think for a lot of you out there, this is going to be the focal length. If you're cropping in on your Q, as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be the lens for you. Now, there are some downsides to this, this camera system. Not really. I mean, you're going into the Q system understanding its strengths and its weaknesses. This is primarily a photographer's camera. Compact, very easy to take around with you, indiscreet. You can go places where other cameras you can't. For example, if I'm carrying the SL3, that's a much larger camera system. This is small and easy to walk around with. So it makes it easier that way. The EVF, again, I wish it was a one-time magnification or 0.9 like the M3 to almost give you that exactly what your eye sees. It's not quite there, but again, I know that they're obviously making an EVF for people that wear glasses and don't wear glasses. They're trying to find that middle road, and I think they've done a decent job with it. Again, these are just a wish list, but they're not deal breakers by any stretch of the imagination. Autofocusing is definitely improved. Do I wish it was at a higher level? Sure. But it's definitely improved from when I tried the camera a number of weeks back with the firmware updates, and I'm sure Leica is going to continually address this until they get it to the point where a lot of people are going to be like, yes, Leica's got it, and I'm sure they'll get there very, very soon. But still, it works really well. I was able to capture a lot of images, fast-moving subjects, no issues at all with that. So I was pleasantly happy with this. Outside of that though, guys, I mean, battery life has been decent on this. The colors, the resolution, just the ease of use is just awesome. And I think, man, if you're a 50mm shooter on an M, and you're getting up there in age and you're having a harder time looking through that viewfinder, that OVF, this is not a bad option to have, guys. This is not a bad option out there for you, you know what I mean? And this is, it kind of brings you into that conversation, is it time for an EVFM? Again, that's another video topic for another day, but this focal length on the Q3 does open up that conversation a little bit more. Just putting that out there. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the Q3 4.3. And by the way, doesn't that sound like a little bit like a droid from Star Wars? That's just me going with my mind. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. More content on the way. Thanks again for the support. Really appreciate it. And I'll chat to you all very, very soon. Bye.